Hello and welcome to this Dawn Busters Taste Challenge. Daylight is arriving out there on February 10th, 2019. Getting started about 6 minutes later than I wanted to. I wanted to get started about 6:10 Central Time, but there was a lot of basketball games last night, college games. I was checking all the scores, and it took a little while. I stayed up later than normal, woke up later than normal. So I was laying there watching that Alliance of American football game and fell asleep, looked up, and the news was on, the weather was on. I said, well, okay. Don't even think Orlando won. They were winning pretty big. Didn't have a whole lot of people at the game, but that's the thing about these kind of leagues. If they're patient, they might make it. If they're impatient, they won't make it. It's going to take years for crowds to get interested, people get interested. CBS has to be patient. They want to have a national broadcast of a spring league because some people don't like basketball and baseball, so it's something to fill their time. And also, there's a lot of good players that, for whatever reason, don't make it in the NFL, but can still do very well in another league. And I think 10 games is enough. Probably over time they could expand to 12 games. It'd be a little better. Anyway. Hello, Ronald Terrio. It's been a while. How are you? Says be good. I'm fine. I'm doing really well. I went to a new church yesterday. I mean, it was built in 1983. I'll say new for me. St. John Bosco on off of La Palco in Harvey, way in the back of Harvey. You know, like heading toward the Gulf of Mexico area. La Palco, Louisiana Power and Light. That's where that name comes from, La Palco Boulevard. So it was very interesting. They had a guy singing the mass, and he had like an operatic voice. Cantor. Gregory Ronald Sorfleet says, good morning. No church today. Yeah, I was just talking about that. I went to mass yesterday at 5 o'clock evening. So now I have 9 churches left to go to in New Orleans, the New Orleans area, to say I've been to every mass at every church. 4 left on the West Bank. St. Martha, St. Agnes Thong, whatever that is. That's a Vietnamese church. I won't understand what they're saying. There's another Vietnamese in Avondale, and then another one in Avondale that's not. So it's 2 in Avondale, 1 more in Harvey, and then 1 in Marrero. And then on the East Bank, there's Our Lady of Good Counsel, uptown. St. Nicholas of Myra, uptown, but that's an Eastern Rite church. Eastern, I don't know how I'm going to feel about that. Tulane Catholic Chapel, Loyola University Catholic Chapel, and Xavier University Chapel. So that's it. All right, now, as if anybody was interested in that, but personally, I like going to church in my Sunday best. Okay. I was wearing my Saturday acceptable. Let's call it that. All right, wasn't bad. All right, so anyway, on to the show. Rich and Rare Reserve. No, what am I saying? Rich and Rare. Rich and Rare. Introduced in 1962, almost said 72. 1962 by a company called Gooderham Distilling. They've been bought out. They were a big player years ago, but like so many, they faded away, got bought out. Rich and Rare. I don't know how rich it's supposed to be. The price is not. It's $7 and between $7 and $8 at Walmart. It's not rare since it's at Walmart. And you can get it cheaper by the ounce if you buy the big handle bottle, the big plastic bottle, which I had no interest in buying. Canadian whiskey. So it's saying Canadian whiskey, that's 2, with natural flavors. 80 proof by Sazerac Company, Kentucky. Frankfort, Kentucky. Okay, bottled by Sazerac. Frankfort. Oh, Buffalo Trace. Okay. Now, my friend David and I were looking at some Buffalo Trace whiskey. I said, this comes from Buffalo Trace. He said, that's not Buffalo Trace. That's not Buffalo Trace. Buffalo Trace gives me a headache. I said, well, whether it gives you a headache or not, that's coming from Buffalo Trace. It might be a different lineup in the ingredients. All right. Because he was so proud that he bought this huge glass jug bottle of Weller, Special Reserve Weller. And I said, well, that comes from Buffalo Trace. Oh, no. I said, oh, yeah. Caliber Canadian from 2004. Not this particular bottle. That's when it was introduced. Caliber, introduced 2004. And I keep getting schooled. I keep getting educating myself. This only comes in a plastic bottle. Well, I'm saying that, I might turn around one day and see it in a glass bottle, but I really do not think that will be the case. I think it's only plastic. I've only ever seen it online, in person, in plastic, the beautiful plastic. But what I mean is, I thought there is a rum called Kings Bay. It's a cheesy looking label. Like, come on, man. That is so cheap. You paid a low price to get the artwork on there. Some starving artist did that, you know, some commercial artist who needs the work. Maybe they're not very good. I mean, it's okay, but it ain't that great. Like some pirate with a wood leg and a parrot and all this on like the beach in Jamaica somewhere, and it's called Kings Bay. And I said, oh, that's an Albertsons brand. It's made by Sazerac for Albertsons. Seemed plausible. They were over there at Albertsons. They were $5.99 a bottle. I said, oh, that's cheap. Gold and white and the spice version, I think. Oh, plastic bottle junk. Well, you know what I'm about to say. Well, I was at Savannah Discount yesterday before I went to church. Right there on the shelf, there's 1.75 liter bottles of Kings Bay gold and white. I don't know about the spice rum. I said, well, there you go. You think you know it all and you don't. It's not just for Albertsons. So, well, you think it's a store brand, then you find out it ain't a store brand. I don't think there's going to be a whole lot of difference between these two items, but there could be a little bit of difference. There was with the other ones, okay? With the other ones. The other Sazerac Canadians. They're just not significant differences, but they're marginal differences. So when you're talking about marginal differences, what do you look at when you're shopping? You know, the price. Why would you look at anything else? Now, if you don't like plastic bottles and you just can't get around that, yeah, well, then you would bring that into play. Rich and Rare, it's a decent looking label. You know, it's nothing spectacular, but it's okay. It is one of the best-selling Canadian whiskeys in America. If that means anything to you. But it is. Been on the market nearly 60 years. You know, it's making money, you know. And now the Caliber. Caliber has been better than I thought it was going to be. I sat on it for 2 years, kept putting it off, and I said, oh, it's got that pour. I got to watch it because it was come pouring out the pour. You know, it's okay. It's okay. IWA Distilling, Louisville. So this one's bottled in Louisville, and Rich and Rare is down the road in Frankfurt. So you can get one from up the road or one from down the road. Appearance. As an alert, as though people are interested in this. Here's an alert. The next Canadian whiskey I'm going to crack open is Heir to the Throne. Heir to the Throne. I bought it at Walmart. It was $15.65. I think the original price was like $30. Or I don't know. No, let me. No, it was like 23 bucks. 22, 21, 22. It was like $2 less than Crown Royal. Whatever Crown Royal was, it was like $2 less. And it was in a nice box, you know, and people were not buying it. They were like, yeah, right, sure, I'm going to buy this thing I never heard of instead of Crown Royal. Crown Royal is the #1 selling whiskey in Louisiana. There is no argument there. I don't know about your state. I wonder if there's a database for that. Top selling whiskeys in each state, top selling beers in each state, top selling. I guess if you did a map of top selling beers, every state would be the same color, right? Bud Light. But Crown Royal really does wear the crown in Louisiana. I mean, ask any liquor store what's the top Crown Royal. There's no debate. It just is I don't know why people in Louisiana are fixated on Crown Royal, but it is not a major player. It's the player here. So nobody was buying the heir to the throne, like, yeah, like they're going to inherit that throne, right? So then Walmart just said, close out. I said, $15, I'll never see it again if I don't buy it now. And there's no doubt about that. Okay, so, oh, man, look at this brown stuff. It's, well, not brown, though, you see, because, oh, with the lights shining at it, it's tan, huh? Tan? With the light shining through it, it's like a gold, amber gold. Oh, I think it's going to be up to about 72 degrees today, but it's doggone cloudy. All this cloudy weather is starting to get me irritated. Okay, I think this whiskey's not so filtered. I'm getting kind of low, right? Down to the last 30%. And no, 35%. And no, I'm not buying any more of it. When it's gone, it's gone. Yeah. It's not super clear. There's like a haze to it. But look, some of the Sazerac bourbons got chunks in it of whatever, like little white specks. Go buy a bottle of Ancient Age and then look at it through the light. You're going to see. It's not so clear. Okay. I got to mix them up, right? I don't even remember which is which. Okay, CC, Caliber Canadian, and R&R. Research and Retribution. Rich and Rare Reserve. That's the next one. Tuesday, Rich and Rare Reserve. Tuesday. I think Tuesday I'm going to do a double up. And then Thursday I'm going to do a double up because next weekend's schedule does not look amenable to doing taste challenges. Let me say that to you. Of course, things could change. But to be on the safe side, no, I'm not going to double up the consumption because if I do 2 Tuesday, I won't drink anything Saturday. I'm talking about liquor. If I do 2 Thursday, I won't drink anything Sunday. You see, these things are all scheduled. I doubled up yesterday because I wanted to try that VB. I got the video recorded. It's long because it was really fascinating. I'll post it coming up. So Monday, that's Monday's slot. So Monday's slot is taken. There will be no liquor consumption on Monday. I'll be very happy with that. That will not bother me. No big deal. No big deal, no big deal. All right. Here we go. Oh, yeah, well, going to walk 1.5 miles today. Yes, it's clearing up. It's going to start raining later tomorrow night. All right, up to 71 degrees today. Not bad, not bad. Yesterday got up to what? Only about 57. And it was cloudy most of the day. The sun came out for a little while and it felt nice. And then the clouds and humidity came back and had a nasty little chill in the air, as Louisiana tends to have at all times. Well, this smells like Rich and rare. I'm gonna tell you why. There's a heavy corn grain alcohol presence. Sweet corn, candy corn, candy corn. Okay. Corn syrup. Okay. All right. All these things, but the sweet, not like, in the beer, there's the big beer controversy right now about the brewer's syrup. That's odorless and flavorless syrup. It's not sweet corn syrup like K-Row. This has that sweetness. This has some sort of flavoring. It almost smells like John and Neil talking about the almond extract. I don't know what it is. It's not artificial flavoring. They're not allowed to use that. Well, whatever concoction it is, it's like a candy sugar almost. I don't know. Who knows? What is it? It's like a breakfast cereal. Like I was talking about that yesterday, like corn puffs or something, whatever those. They keep changing the name. They were called sugar pops or whatever, but then they didn't want to say sugar. No, don't say sugar. Say corn. But anyway, that's what it smells like. All right. So if you're used to bourbon, this will smell nothing like bourbon. If you're used to scotch, this will smell nothing like scotch. Canadian whiskey is its own world. That's why it's a different class. Okay, now this one is less aromatic, you see. Does it have the cereal grain, the sweet corn, candy corn, and the breakfast cereal, sweet breakfast cereal aspects of the other one, almond extract and all that? Yes, it does, but it's less of it. And I recollect that the caliber Canadian was a little dulled out relative to the other ones, which in some people's idea may be a good thing. And I was saying, what is this? I was at my friend David's house last night, and I'm thinking, what is this? How could a person buy all this whiskey? I mean, what is the purpose behind? What are we? Is it like Lady Elaine Fairchild's museum go round? I mean, I don't understand this. And remember her concept also, the museum was this big, like a small cake. That's all it was. But you could go inside, and then it was a huge emporium. Yep. Okay. And then I said to him, what are these bottles? I wasn't familiar with those two bottles over there. Oh, that's tequila, he says. That's tequila. Oh, what is, and then all the wine. I said, this wine is not open. You can't age this Spanish wine. I said, you can't age that. I'll give it away. I said, oh, I don't understand. But then I can't say too much, because if you came over to this house and looked, you'd say, what are you talking about? Well, of course, I have to admit, I have a number of items, and I picked up 3 yesterday. I mean, they're so cheap. It's just like you get into a frenzy, but I'm not a hoarder. No, people say you're not a hoarder, right? You got 8,000 comic books. Yeah, but I read those. Every single one, I've read them. Yep. No, I'm going to drink those bottles down. That's good. That's a 10-year. It won't take 10 years, but it's going to take a long time. But I'm going to drink. It's all being done for the project. I'm not just going to have them forever, like, unopened forever. Like it doesn't. There's no end game. I was kind of going on him, kind of putting pressure on him. Like I say, what is the end game? You got all this beer. There's no. You can't. This is not a museum. I don't know. He said, you're putting peer pressure on me. He was saying that about a review. And I said, no, I'm not putting peer pressure. I'm trying to understand it. I can't grasp the concept behind this. That's why I call it the museum. All right. And then somebody gave him a bunch of old beer. Just because they didn't want it. I said, what are we doing? We're passing around expired Greek beer. expired German beer. I said, that stuff won't be any good. It won't be any good. You'll see, but you'll never see. I don't think you'll. All right, quick little drab before Mass, says Maxie. I don't know what you're talking about. Maybe, are you talking about yourself? Because I went to Mass yesterday, Vigil Mass at St. John Bosco. Interesting church, very interesting. All right, now that one just tastes like, you know what it tastes like? Grain alcohol, corn liquor, you know, like, hey. Oh, well, there is some rye spice, some. But boy, it's, whoa, 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 whoa. Somebody was saying there were some videos I was looking at yesterday, and I'm backlogged on videos now. It's going to take a while to catch up. But they were saying, oh, that's a bad terminology to use when you're doing whiskey reviews. Smooth. No one in the whiskey world, you know, the real whiskey experts, talks about smooth. Smooth is a nasty word in their mind. You know, smooth is for those common people who drink whiskey to drink, not taste and evaluate and explore and write reviews and make videos. So, well, maybe smoothness is a nasty thing to say if you're a qualified, very well-respected whiskey reviewer. But that would be good in this case because this is anything but smooth. That's where the misunderstanding was on my part. I was going by traditional rules. Vigil Mass? Yeah, Vigil, yesterday. Yesterday, I went to the West Bank. All right. So if you don't want to be getting smooth items, this will work because it is not smooth. It's a little ragged. And I've talked about that in the past. These are a little jagged, a little ragged. Ouch, 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 ouch. All right, over here. Yeah, it's the same type thing. Has a little, well, actually, this one over here, oddly, in the aroma, it did not, but in the flavor, it has a little more of that almond extract flavor. Strange. Rye, yeah, high rye. Well, Sazerac, they tend to be higher rye than most things, most companies. That's kind of like their house calling card. But maybe those guys have, I'm making fun of the whiskey self-appointed experts, but maybe they're onto something, because I've tried some of these items that people talk about how smooth it is, but to me it was like, seems dull, like there's no flavor. You'd almost rather have a bad flavor than no flavor. Well, that's the way I see it. At least it's got something better than nothing. All right. Okay. Oh, the afterburn is just, grain alcohol, grain alcohol. When you're paying $5.96 a bottle or $7.92 a bottle, don't expect a whole lot. Well, you'll get a lot, but it may not be what you're expecting. But if you're paying $7.92, you should be expecting what you're getting right here, okay? You might say, this stuff's not very well refined. It's pretty harsh and ragged and sort of merciless. Yeah, that's what you get for $5.96. I'm not saying it's hooch, like people will say. It's hoochistic, though. It's in the hooch realm. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's kind of getting into that area. Oh, well, the flavor is practically the same. Let's be honest. Let's not kid ourselves. So, once again, Caliber Canadians winning the tournament because it's winning the tournament because it's $5.96 a bottle, okay? And furthermore, maybe it's a little worse than the others. Maybe it isn't. You could sit there and think about it for 35 minutes every morning and try to figure it out. But then again, why would that even matter? Why would you do that? 99.9% of people aren't going to do it. 99.9% of people buying the stuff aren't even going to do tastings. They're going to pour it in a, they're going to mix it with Coke or 7-Up or whatever they mix it with. Somebody said he knew a guy that mixed Sir Malcolm Scotch with milk and drank it. Okay. Whatever they're going to do, and then they're going to go up and down. Now, that's your answer. So shop price. I mean, if you don't mind the plastic bottle, just get the 596 caliber. Get it. If you're looking for cheap, acceptable whiskey. And that's what these are. They're not unacceptable. You can read some reviews that are totally beyond the pale of credibility. Instead of saying like, it's okay, it's not very good, I wouldn't buy it, but I was able to drink it. I mean, it was all right. No, they'll write things that are outrageous, oh, it tastes like paint thinner, fingernail polish remover, airplane glue. I dumped the whole bottle out. I paid $5.96. I dumped the whole bottle out. I drink good stuff like Weller 12-year and Pappy Van Winkle 10-year and Four Roses 10-year edition and all of this especially. Well then, okay, fine. But you didn't need to even tell anybody all of that. See, when I read those reviews, and there are ones like that, you can just look them up. They're not trying to review the product at hand. They're trying to project an image, you see. They're trying to tell you this is all the great stuff I drink, and I don't like this trash. Well, you just shouldn't. You knew you didn't like it before you got it. You know what I'm saying? Like it was a hatchet job. You know what I'm saying? It's not a review. It's a rip. It's a what do I call it? A slam video. Yeah, that's not a review. Now, let's give it a fair shake. These things are okay. Why would you pay $5.96 and then dump it down the drain when you knew already you weren't going to like it because you're too highfalutin and the hoi polloi. I watch these beer reviews all the time. Same old story. It just gets under my skin because it's like I'm wasting minutes of my life. Hey guys, I'm going to review, and then they'll laugh before they review it. I'm going to review a Budweiser. I'm going to do a trash beer today. I'm going to review it. I'm like, well, you're not reviewing it. I drank Budweiser when I was 18. They'll say, oh yeah, and we used to, but we didn't know what we were doing. So I'm going to review this. Guys. And I got this microphone right under my neck clipped on here. And when I drink it, you'll hear boop, boop, boop. That's strange in itself. It's like when you interact with people in a normal life, you don't hear them gulping, right? Like you're sitting across the table from them. You can't hear gulp, gulp, gulp. What is all these strange sounds? I don't understand that. And then they'll go on and tell you how bad Budweiser. Well, that's not a review because they're already telling you they hit, that's a slam video, and plus they're doing it to get views. Like, comment, subscribe, guys. Put that thumbs up. Let's do it. We can build this. We built this city on beer reviews. We built this city on beer review. No, you built this city on bull crap, man. And then they'll have the camp followers saying, yeah, hey, I hate it too. Yeah, let's all team up and let's get together but there's no point to that. All right. I'm not going to keep ranting and raving because it drives me mad. Mad, I say, drives me crazy. Oh. Gregory Ronald says, to compare Canada and USA's prices, we pay $24 for a bottle versus 40 Canadian for the same thing. Yeah, that's not a good deal. The nutritional information will put those snobs in their place. I don't know if it will. I mean, it should, because you look at a lot of these highfalutin, deep speculative, time, space warp craft beers that you paid $9.99 for a 12-ounce bottle for. Oh, I'm sorry, 11.2-ounce bottle. And it's like, well, the flavors are so rich and exquisite. But yeah, I mean, they got candy sugar in it, man. They added spices. But then you sat there and you talked about how everything should be pure, pure, pure. Don't you find that beer is unusually dark? Do you think perhaps coloring could be added? No, they're not required to disclose that in beer. I know they're not required to disclose that. But what if they did? Oh, boy. So you got to have a perspective to deal with these things. And people, but I think some of the ones that don't have a perspective have the perspective. They just don't want to entertain the perspective. You know what I'm saying? They know what they're doing. They know what they're doing. Huh. So don't get on a rant about true food and back to nature and all of this, but then you're going to drink a beer that's got flavoring in it, candy sugar, and then you talk about how exquisite it is. And well, you just made a speech about purified back to nature and the green movement and a Green New Deal, and we're gonna make paradise on earth, and we're gonna regulate people's lives, and we're gonna run your life and steal your wife and help you regulate the world and send you off to Capistrano to fight a war because the bad guys are beating the other bad guys or whatever, you know, and you can come back and you got your face burned up. I'm a hero because I kept Capistrano from taking over Camiglio, and that was important because the Camiglios, they're bad. You know, they'll do terrible things to us. Okay. Who funded the Camiglios? Do not ask inconvenient questions, sir. All right, so I think that the one on the right could be your left, but in my right hand. In my right hand, I almost looked before I called it. What's wrong? What is wrong? What's happening? I think this is the caliber. It is. It is. It is. I don't know. It is. Okay, I got it. Now, why did I get it? You say pure luck. 50-50 chance, a flip of the coin. Anybody could do it. That's true. You got to admit that. But I remarked earlier, see, I covered myself because I said it tasted a little dulled out relative to the other one. And what have I been saying about caliber all along? It was a little dulled out relative to the other ones. So you can tell it apart if you concentrate on the dulled out aspect of it. Is it profound? Is it a great difference? No. And you wouldn't notice it anyway if you weren't thinking about it. So I'd still buy the cheaper one. I'd still buy the caliber because it's not $2 worse. Might be 20 cents worse, but not $2. No way. No way, Jose. Oh, I'm sorry. I can't say. I'm sorry. I appropriated. They're going to come back in 30 years and say, you know, one time you said, no, Jose, no way, Jose, you have to resign. I'm sorry. I didn't realize. I got. Okay. Be Good says, back at last. What's up, Ronald? Great haircut. I want to thank Wonder Cuts for that. Although I thought they should have done it shorter on the sides. But those women, you know, when women cut your hair, they try to dictate what you should do. You're giving the money, you're paying, but they're telling you, well, don't do it like that. It's like, no, I'm giving you the money. You do the service, okay? Wherever I want, you do it. You don't really want it on zero. No, actually, I do. That's why I said I want it on zero. If you had a razor blade, I'd want it on skin, you know, down to the razor's edge. But you can't use a razor because you're not a barber, you're a beautician, so you're not licensed to use the razor. So they'll just basically ignore your orders. Oh well. To give a perfect score to anything is flawed. At that point, you're telling them you're done, no room for improvement. I've actually given perfect scores. I've had a few beers that I didn't see any room for improvement. Of course, there may be room for improvement. I said it's above 100. You say, well, you mean the beer's like 105% great? Yeah, but maybe they could make it 125% great. You know what I'm saying? Like not just world class, super world class. I've never had a super world class beer. I've just had world class beers, and only about 5 or 6 anyway. Are people going to impeach Trump? You talking about the House of Representatives? It's unlikely, but let's just say they do. All impeach means is bring charges against. The trial has to be held in the Senate. His party controls the Senate. So that would they would go nowhere. You understand? It would be defeated because these trials are political trials. They're not criminal trials, really. Okay, so they just look for some little gotcha crime, you know, something they, oh yeah, you didn't fill out form 967C, you filled out form 967B. That's a crime. That's a crime. That's the United States statutes of filling out forms from 1937. Didn't you know that? We got you now. But that's not why they're prosecuting the president. It has nothing to do with crime. It's because they don't like him. You see what I'm saying? We don't like your policies. And since we lost the election, we want to take you out of office another way. You see, that's what's really behind it. So don't even entertain the idea of crimes. Same thing with Bill Clinton. The Republicans thought they had it in the bag in 1996 because Bill Clinton was not popular and the Clinton family had a history of corruption and or worse. And the Republicans took over both houses of Congress in 1995. So they thought, we've got it, we've got it. But they blew it because they put out some old man who had no ability to, you know, get people interested in his nothing ideas, you know, his Republican establishment, New York City ideas. So he captured no one's imagination. And it was almost like I was telling everybody in 1996, I said, they took a dive. That was rigged. You know, like the Republicans, they, it was almost like they, that was a phantom punch, you know. They knew this guy would lose against Clinton, and Clinton had a lot of deficits. So, but then they were mad, you see. They figured the way they could get at Clinton was to charge him with these crimes, but it didn't do any good because they didn't have enough votes in the Senate to convict. You got to have a 67% vote to convict, and that's almost impossible. So same thing with Nixon. Oh, he did all these crimes. But that wasn't the real reason they impeached him or were threatening to impeach him. It was because they were mad because he won the biggest landslide in history and they didn't like him. I mean, let's be honest. That's the reason. We don't like you. Okay? It's as simple as that. It's not about morality. It's not about doing right or wrong or following the law. It's all politics. Gregory Ronald Sorfleet says 39% approval in country, 70% in the Senate. Well, you can't pay much attention to approval rates. And Trump is like Palpatine. I am the Senate. Well, Trump is more like Obi-Wan Kenobi. because he puts Jedi mind tricks on his opponents. So they're dealing with somebody they've never dealt with before. They're used to dealing with these humdrum, bought, you know what I'm saying, these Republicans who will take a dive. Like, remember Cassius Clay and who's the guy? He died mysteriously. He was kind of involved with organized crime, and he had actually killed somebody once. And he lost the first fight fair and square, but then the second, the rematch, it's pretty well established now that that was rigged, that he took a dive and there was no punch. He got knocked out, but nobody hit him. You know, Cassius Clay didn't hit him. So it's like, well, wait a minute. What's that guy's name? I'll think of it once the video's off. Of course, I'll think of it. But that's why when he knocked out George Foreman in '74, they said that was no phantom punch. That was no phantom punch. You heard David Frost saying that, because that was going back to the early 1960s fight when Sonny Liston, that's his name, Sonny Liston. Excuse me, Sonny Liston. So that goes back to that, and so they're used to those kind of people. The Democrat, the liberals are used to going after Sonny Liston's, people that's going to take a dive. So here's Trump, and they say, oh, what's this guy? He's setting us up and knocking us down like a bowling pin. You know, he puts on that little act, you know, that goofy man act, and they fall for it. They're starting to wise up a little bit, I think. Trump is like Obi-Wan Kenobi's ugly twin. Trump isn't a stuffed shirt. We like him in my social group, says Gregory Ronald. You see, you get a lot of these, and especially in Canada, I notice a lot of Canadians hate Trump, but they're watching CBC. They're only hearing what they're being told to hear. You know what I'm saying? So they get this very manufactured, prepackaged reporting. And, you know, you got this guy up there saying, oh, tonight we're going to talk about President Trump, and he's a very bad man, and he was in the White House and he was offending people, and he uses lots of bad gestures, and his delivery is very rough and tumble. Boy, oh boy, I don't like it, you know. And so the Canadians will say, oh yeah, that offends me. But you have to have a little bit of ability to think, you know, and I think Canadians do, but you got to break through the establishment, what you want to call it, mind control. Mind control. And the same thing in Great Britain. They'll say that, I talk to the British people, and they'll say, oh boy, we don't like Trump. He's so rough and tumble. He's like an old cowboy, don't you know? And I'm like, come on, man. All right, anyway, let's go. Let's sit down and drink a pint, knock back a pint, eat some crackers and chutney, and talk about Donald Trump, you know, smoke cigars and drink sherry. All right, anyway, so Caliber Canadian wins by default because it's not so bad and it's $2 cheaper. It's as simple as that. Now, in 2 days, we're going to do Rich and Rare Reserve. One would hope that Rich and Rare Reserve would destroy the lowly Caliber Canadian. Now, if that doesn't happen, we got a problem. Not a real problem, but just a theoretic problem. So Caliber Canadian, I got it for $9.99 a bottle, which is unusually low. It's usually $10.99. Against the, you know, bottom of the bottom shelf Caliber, you know, the lowest of the low. But if it can hold its own, then we can really discover some things Tuesday. All right, well, that's enough rambling on. Like I'm rambling on like Led Zeppelin. All right, so we're gonna stop this. I gotta answer all these comments. I gotta. Ooh, look at the daylight. It really is clear now. I'm excited. Well, I see some clouds. All right, so I'm gonna answer all those comments. Thanks, folks, for watching this video. Production.